Okay, welcome.
Okay, welcome.
This is your friendly quarantine podcast.
Pretty friendly, I guess, right?
Stayfhomekins. I'm Janie Haddad Tompkins.
I'm Paul F. Tompkins. We're a married couple.
He's a comedian.
She's an actor.
Actress, please. Thank you.
Sure, actress.
So that's an interesting little topic. There are people who...
Did you trick me into... Was this a setup?
I don't understand this whole, like, I'm an actor, not an actress. When men are not going around saying, I'm an actress, not an actor. So why don't you take your little term for you?
Wait, what side are you on?
I'm on the side of whatever the hell I want to do.
Hey, that's fine.
Is it? Is it?
Fine by me.
What about society?
You're going to have to take it up with them.
What about society?
You're going to have to take it up with them.
I'm in a mood.
You seem to be in a mood, yes.
I'm a bit of a mood. What do you want me to do about it?
I don't know. I'm glad you're telling me now rather than before we started recording.
I thought you knew.
No.
This new? This is new?
This is new. We've barely seen each other today.
Well, that's true. So you missed, like, the crying jags.
I guess I did.
Which I like to do in private anyway.
Sure.
So that's fine.
What if we were sitting in the living room and you said to me, hey, I'm just going to cry real quick. And then you just sat there and cried.
Would you think it was weird? Or would you be like, yeah, that's 2020?
Look, I wouldn't think it was weird because I've seen broadcast news.
When that movie came out, my mom was like, you have to see this movie. There's this character that's just like you. And then I saw it and I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to rewatch it now.
I guess because I'm sometimes like a bossy pants. How are you? Enough about me. Enough about me. Let's check in. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
How are you holding up?
I'm okay. Yeah. I think I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird, but I think I'm okay. I feel, I don't know. It's a really weird feeling of limbo that we're all in right now. We're waiting for something to change, for many things to change.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that sense of being static.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we've got this pandemic going on. Cases are rising as the country opens up. Let me tell you how I feel about that. I think it's, you know what I think the hoax is? Not the virus.
Mm-hmm. Like we previously thought. Like if you go back and listen to our other episodes, we were very upfront about how we thought this was a hoax.
God, I wished I had, honestly.
Why?
It just seems so liberating.
To be so delusional?
Yes. Yes.
You know, sometimes I get the appeal of that, of just, look, the ignorance is bliss. They say it for a reason. And to be so... To retreat into a place of that, of like, I can't face this, so I'm going to say it's not happening.
Exactly.
This is too big for me to
like
process.
A denier. Like a virus denier.
And you can say that about racism, too.
You can say it about anything. You can say it about the Holocaust.
This is too big for me to process, so I'm going to say no such thing.
You can say it about vaccinating for measles. Mm-hmm. You can say it about anything.
Well, I thought... Do you think anti-vaxxers are like... The idea of measles is too big for me to process.
Yes. Here's the real hoax. Capitalism. The joke is on us. Okay? Just go back out there in the world with this infectious virus.
Yeah, it's demented.
Just go on out there.
Yeah.
You might kill one of your elderly relatives.
Or somebody you don't even know.
But go churn out a buck or two so that you can add to the tax, kitty. It's like, what? I'm telling you. That's the hoax. The jokes.
I don't disagree.
The joke's on us. The joke is on us.
The jokes and the hoax is on us.
By the way, a lot of essential workers listen to us.
It's true.
We got a lot of feedback. And I have to say, you guys are effusive and kind and send nice greetings. And thank you. I'll never stop thanking you for working through all this. Also, real popular with mail carriers.
Yeah, that was nice to find out.
A lot of mail carriers
Yeah.
reaching out. And you know what? I'm for saving the USPS. I think it's BS if they let it, disintegrate. What? I've got a platform and I'm
it does seem like you had some talking points that you definitely wanted to get to.
I didn't until it happened, until the red light came on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, tell me your stuff.
Well, I built a soft sound studio.
SSS.
So
that's not great.
3S is fine.
Oh, it's the 2.
It's 3 or more. Yeah.
Okay.
Although SS also boats, so that's not so bad.
Right, like the Love Boat.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say I built an SS.
What was the Love Boat? The SS.
What do you mean? What was the Love Boat?
What was it called? The SS what? Wonder Man. What was it called? The SS.
Was it the SS Wonder Man?
It was something. It had to have been called something.
I feel like this is something that I used to know.
I feel like I can't believe you don't know it because you're like a trivia.
Welcome aboard the. Because they didn't say it was they didn't call it the Love Boat.
The Love Boat. Am I allowed to do that or am I going to get sued?
I think we're fine.
Okay.
I think we're fine.
Exciting and new. If I don't hit the notes, is that really copyright infringement?
That's how you get around it. You sing the whole song, but you don't hit any of the notes.
I mean,
properly.
honestly. Here's what else I hate. Heat waves. Heat wave this week.
We're done with me already?
No. We're not. We're
God,
not.
you got me up. You got me up to ask about the Love Boat's name. I couldn't go over that. Now we're back to your list of grievances.
You're right. You built your soft sound studio. Your soft sound.
I built my Triple S.
Your Triple S. Your
made out of. That's right. Quiet as a snake. I made it out of moving blankets, heavy moving blankets. And I made four photo backdrop stands.
You're going to tape my audition with that.
That's right.
I got an audition, first one in 14 weeks.
That's right.
I'm sure it's fine to go back on a set. It's fine. All right, keep going. So you built it all.
Here's the thing. This is not really that much of a story.
Kind of a story.
It's not.
It's just checking in.
It's really not. But because you keep inserting yourself into it, and I feel like it makes it seem as if it's leading up to a payoff. There is no payoff.
You know what? Those reviewers were right about me.
Don't read reviewers.
I have to read them for the producing purposes.
You don't have to read them at all.
Well, okay.
You don't have to read them.
Any hoozles.
So I was very pleased with it.
Yes.
It threatened to, because I had 3 stands. And I needed 4.
Okay.
To make a little front wall.
You needed a square. You were going to do a square.
I needed a perfect square of stands. I was missing 1 bar to hang the front up. So I had the rods up extended as far as they could go. And so it was fine, except in the front, they were like bowing inward. And I was afraid that it would collapse on me in the middle of recording.
But now you have the 4th.
Now I have the 4th, and now no more jobs.
You booked that one job.
I booked that one job.
He booked a day of work on
a day on a cartoon.
Are you allowed to
it was
say?
20 minutes. I'm allowed, but who cares? So I did like a 20-minute session in my little fort, and it worked out really well. So now I feel like,
but like the idea was like, oh, I'll get all this equipment, I'll get ready to go, and then the jobs will start pouring in.
That wasn't necessarily the idea. That was the secret hope, I think.
But then the one job is barely going to cover the stuff you had to pony up to get.
I'm still in the black
at the moment.
Still in the black.
Okay. Well, except for the pizza I ordered tonight. It barely covered that, probably.
That comes out of your money. That's not my money.
Yeah, I ordered like...
That'll come out of your allowance.
Oh my God, I wish I had an allowance. Can I get an allowance? I want to be Carmela Soprano.
Oh, God.
Please. Wait, so this week, I guess, David Chase...
Oh, yeah.
Kind of slipped up and said what the final moment... Are we allowed... It's fine.
Yeah, we're allowed to say that. Yeah, he referred to... We saw an anecdote. It's not even an interview. We saw someone relay this on television.
Gail. I love Gail.
Your friend Gail.
Y'all, I watched it's like CBS.
There's a book
morning.
There's a book coming out about the making of The Sopranos, and David Chase, in the course of being interviewed for that book, referred to that final scene of the series as a death scene.
Yes, that that means Tony Soprano got hit. Right. He got knocked off.
But then he walked it back.
He's sleeping with the fishes. I mean, he has to kind of refer to it that way because the actor himself is no longer with us. So maybe he started thinking of it that way in his mind after that actor passed away.
Perhaps.
I
remember seeing pictures of Gandolfini's son as young Tony Soprano.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Whatever happened to that thing?
The prequel?
Yeah.
It's probably coming out in month 8 of quarantine.
Because I feel like that was, I don't have a sense of time anymore. Was that I feel like that was a couple years ago.
No, it was like last year.
Okay.
Also, like, it was like some article where they were like, he hasn't seen it yet or something. I'm like, come on, it's weird.
Who hasn't seen what yet?
I think the article was like,
his son has not seen The Sopranos yet?
He hadn't seen it yet or something.
Well, hey, James Gandolfini's son, you're in for a treat.
It's really good.
When I remember, it holds up really well.
I'm sure he had to watch it to play the character, even though that's the character's future, so he doesn't know what the future is. Does that make sense? If you're playing the character, you don't need to know the character's future because that doesn't inform your performance in any way.
It's true. You also might naturally, being related to the person, you might naturally have enough of their mannerisms.
Well, of course.
And,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I wonder. Well, so maybe the book is coming out because the prequel is coming out soon.
We'll never know.
All I know is that when that series ended, and we watched it live, I remember.
Yes.
Do it live. We did.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it. We did it live, and then, I remember like screaming at the end. Don't you remember being like, "Oh my God!" Like at the end?
I remember being very surprised and shocked by it, but I don't remember screaming.
I remember being like...
I think what we both said was, what?
What? I think we were like, what?
I don't think we sounded that stupid.
What? What?
What?
I just have to say, like, that series finale is, like, awesome. I don't care what people say.
I think it's great.
There was, like, people who were mad about it.
Yes.
And they're stupid.
Yeah.
Because if you're mad about that, then I'm sorry, you're stupid.
I remember at the time there were people that wanted it. I remember seeing that people wanted it to be some, like, big shootout or something. And it's like, that never was the show. Why would that happen all of a sudden?
I don't know. The whole thing was, like, so good. The whole thing was so good.
Why haven't we rewatched it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Do you know what we got to talk about?
What?
We got into a show we didn't expect to get into.
Oh, yeah. Wait. The show everyone said to watch.
Many, many people told us. People online love this show. The show gets a lot of praise. We had seen the pilot.
And
we didn't like it.
It wasn't like... that's even like too strong. It wasn't even like I disliked the pilot. I just didn't take to it. Like,
yes, it seemed like a different show, kind of, in a way.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know about this kind of humor. Like, it's not my favorite. But then I didn't realize it turned into my kind of humor.
That show
is
Schitt's Creek.
Yes, it's super cute. I love the cast.
I knew
the
amazing.
Cast was good.
Yeah.
I never doubted that.
Yeah.
It was more like, oh, yeah, like Green Acres or whatever.
But we're into the second season now.
Acres?
Yeah, Green Acres. When I was a kid, that show frustrated me so much, Green Acres, because the people were so... Okay, so Green Acres, if you don't know, it's a moldy old TV show from the 60s that I watched in reruns when I was a kid.
I watched it.
And it's along the lines of... It's like the same time as Beverly Hillbillies and Petticoat Junction.
Of Beverly Hillbillies. But Green Acres is the opposite of Beverly.
Exactly, yes. Instead of country people becoming rich city people, it's a rich city guy goes to the country to live a simple life. Still wears a suit. He wears a coat and tie every day.
He does. I don't remember that.
But he is...
The whole reason for getting out of the city would have been to wear a T-shirt.
You would So he and his wife, played by Ava Gabor. It's Eddie Arnold.
I thought it was Zsa Zsa Gabor.
No, it's her sister, Ava Gabor.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let that sink in.
Are you sure?
While we hear the weed whacker outside.
Oh, my God.
Yes, I'm positive. It was not Zsa Zsa.
The yard work around here. Just give it a rest.
So they go to the country to get... He wants to get back to nature. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to, but she goes along with it. Mm-hmm. And then he is constantly confounded by the simple rural folk around him who seem to willfully misunderstand the things that he is saying to them.
Really?
Yes.
Like they just can't get it. They're like, you city slicker. Like,
pretty much, yeah.
Kind of thing.
They're like, oh, well, you can't do that because of this. Because that, the train won't come in for another 4 days or whatever. It's like, as a kid, it was like, I understand what he wants. Why can no one hear him properly?
Oh,
it drove me crazy.
That's frustrating.
Another show like that for me was I Dream of Janie.
Which was one of my favorites.
Sure.
I loved I Dream of Janie.
Yeah.
First of all, Barbara Eden was super foxy.
Gorgeous.
And I wanted to I wanted to wear that outfit and I wanted to look like her and I wanted to live in that pillow-laden bottle, and, it was just so good. And she was so what's the word I'm looking for? She didn't behave. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he was always punishing her. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's a domestic situation.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's a weird show because, so he's an astronaut. He finds her on an island somewhere.
That's right. He works for NASA. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then
it's Larry Hagman.
Larry Hagman. And then he takes her back to his swinging bachelor pad. And then she causes trouble because she has magic powers. She is subservient to him, does whatever he asks, but takes everything extremely literally. And then once she makes magic happen, she seemingly cannot undo it.
She doesn't like being in her bottle, and he's always sending her to the bottle.
Yes, if company comes over, she can't be seen. She has to go back in the bottle.
And then she'll teach him a lesson. She teaches him a lesson all the time. She'll go in the bottle and she's like, I'm going to make this happen. And then he's like, Janie. I
do feel like every episode ended with him sort of apologizing to her. I don't know.
What a weird,
it's been a long time
what
since
a
I've seen
weird
that
show. How did that get, greenlit?
That was what people did back then. They had all these weird shows.
Oh my God.
My Favorite Martian.
Jealous about, okay, I love old TV stories and stuff like that. I watched this documentary recently about Dominic West. Is that his name? No, that's the guy from The Wire.
Dominic Dunn?
Yeah. Dominic Dunn. Different Dominic. he had such a fascinating life.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of like stumbled into television when it was like starting, you know, and like what I wouldn't give to get in a time machine and just show up around TV starting because that's where it's at. That was like the time to be like, I have this wacky idea. And they're like, okay, kid, run with it or whatever. And then you would like become a gazillionaire.
Well, are you talking, was this like Playhouse 90 days? Like when they were doing, you know, Requiem for a Heavyweight and stuff like that? Or was it more like in the 60s?
Like more in the 60s, I think, because I want to say there was like, I want to say, now I'm like conflating all my stories. That
Don't do that.
He was involved in that Playboy After Dark, like, maybe he was just on it, though. I can't remember.
As a guest, as one of like the party guests?
He might have been I can't remember. All I know is that what was interesting to me about Dominic Dunn's story, besides the fact that he was like kind of an asshole, like, but then he changed his ways. Like he started off an asshole and then he kind of got better.
Because he was obsessed with status and fame, right?
Yes, and he like basically talked about, I mean, he's no longer alive, but they had footage of him, you know, later in his life. But like tragedy happened in his life. Like, you know, his daughter was murdered and I mean, things happened in his life that I think caused him to. But what was interesting about him too was that he didn't really start his writing career until he was 50. And I thought that was like awesome. I was like, oh my God. Like he just like went to he kind of had this moment where he went to a cabin and he wrote a book. And it was like unplanned. I'm not kidding. It was like he went to a cabin.
You're not kidding at all?
No.
You're being serious.
I mean, at the time he wasn't being a great dad and husband and stuff because he'd already divorced, I think. But like he checked out some. But he didn't know himself. That was the whole thing, is that he didn't know himself. And so I mean, men can do that, right? They can just like take off and not show up for the kids. I think that's sort of like a thing.
I think it's frowned upon now.
I think it's frowned upon then. But anyway, my whole point was TV back then seemed to be so, you know, whatever you wanted kind of a thing.
I think like, what's funny to me is how it's changed very little in that they're always chasing trends. So when like Bewitched was on, then there was I Dream of Janie, there was My Favorite Martian. Like there was this glut of shows where there was like a supernatural element to it or an otherworldly element to it.
Did you say Bewitched?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And
like, yeah, they were.
There was. Did you ever hear of a show called My Mother the Car?
No, that's weird.
My Mother the Car was a real show. I don't think it lasted very long, but a woman dies and she is reincarnated as the spirit of her son's car.
Was that like some advertisement thing? Like they were sponsored by GE or something?
I thought you were going to say like an automobile company.
Oh, is that not an automobile company?
GE?
Oh, GM.
GM, yes.
Fine, whatever.
Something's with you tonight?
I'm profusely sweating.
It is very warm here in Los Angeles.
I'm angry about the world.
Yeah.
I'm heartbroken about the world. And I'm anxious about the world.
And that's why we do this, to a break for other people.
I've decided.
Are you tired of your own anxiety?
Yeah.
Why don't you listen to ours?
I have decided that I'm addicted to my smartphone, and I'm going
No brand names, thank you.
And I'm going to download
Blue Bubble, that's all you need to know.
I'm going to download an app.
Oh boy, here we go. That's
going to help me break my addiction. I don't know how this is going to work because what I really want is a substitute app to be addicted. Here's the thing. I don't think I'm addicted to my smartphone as much as I'm addicted to social media. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't be addicted.
You're not on the calculator all day. I just love my phone. I love all the features. Flashlight, on and off.
Like you could be reading like, you know, newspapers on your phone all day, and that's not necessarily.
That's not technically being addicted to your phone, yeah.
I don't think it is. I think it's the social media bull shit.
Say it, honey. Yeah.
That it just, it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
And I hate that it's like this weird feature of like, if you want to be an actor, you've got to have followers. I mean, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. It didn't work for me because I have a couple followers and I never got a job. So, I mean, I guess like, I don't know. What do you think? What is your feeling about it?
Well, I'm on social media a lot. But since in the past few weeks, I haven't been on it in the same way. That I'm more sort of sharing stuff rather than posting my own things. Mm-hmm. I still will post my own things and, you know, try to be funny when I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I am. But I feel like my relationship to it has changed. And I see it more during this time, I see it more as a means of gathering and sharing information. Certainly, like the self-promotional aspect of it has felt absurd at this point.
I will say this about the gathering information. I don't even find the information useful because I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. Like, there was, like, stuff going around about, you know, all of this activism movement stuff, like defund the police or 8 Can't Wait. And then, like, in a blink of an eye, all of a sudden 8 Can't Wait was no longer, like, important anymore.
Yeah.
And then it, like, switched, and I was like, this is too much. Like, I can't absorb and metabolize this information in a logical and thoughtful way when it is coming so fast. And then there's all these, like, side dramas, you know, where you click on somebody's thing or statement or whatever, and it's not like, I just want the information. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to know what's going on. I don't want to know
yeah, but that's
an example, by the way.
Absolutely, I totally
I'm just
understand.
saying that's one tiny microcosm of why the information doesn't feel real.
Yes, yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it's like, a lot of times you have to ignore the quote around the tweet and just look at the information, you know, because people are trying to, I don't know, it's also so many voices that you're like, can I trust this person? I have to do research on who this is, even though I feel like I agree with what they are sharing, but, you know, I've had that a couple times where I've shared something that came, like a good point that came across my timeline, mm-hmm. and then people were like, that person's the worst. I'm like, well, that terrible person and I agree on this one thing.
Well, another thing is I read a lot of times like comments or the reactions to things, mm-hmm. and suddenly like I'll see people get attacked for something. And then I start to think, well, they're being attacked by people that aren't blue checks people on mm-hmm. Twitter. And I'm like, I don't think they're real. I think that they're like AI.
Yeah.
They're AI because they're trying to like debunk or like discredit or misinform or rile up emotionally.
Yeah, I know, but not everybody who does that is a bot. Like there are people that do that just to do it. You know, there's that. It's so hard to navigate because there's people who have actual beliefs, whether they're yours or not, and they will argue with you or insult you or whatever. Uh-huh. Then you have people that they just like to, like, if you look at their feed, they don't tweet anything ever. All they do is reply to people in call them names or whatever.
But my point is, what am I getting out of this? Like, this is the truth. Like, what am I getting out of it?
It depends how you use it, you know? It depends how you use
it. I like the amusing points of view of people.
Yeah.
Because I think it can really crystallize important issues, actually. Like certain, certain comedians or funny voices.
You don't have to say me, but I know who you mean.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I want to know what thought leaders are thinking anymore. I want to be my own thought leader. I want to be my own, like, I have my own set of values. And if I listen too much to the noise, like, it scrambles my own values. It separates you from humanity in a way.
There's ways, though, to make it less noisy. And, like, you can make a list of sources that you trust to provide you with information and just look at that rather than look at just an endless stream.
Right.
You know? And you can have separate lists for different things, for information or for humor or whatever.
Maybe.
So that you're not constantly just hearing a million voices at the same time.
Maybe. I'm thinking I might want to try to find out a way to not look at it.
Well, there's also the newspaper, like we could get a subscription to the LA Times. There's many
well, I'm mad
other...
at the LA Times.
Why are you mad at the LA Times?
Okay, so you guys tell me if this is right or wrong. Okay. I clicked on the digital subscription. I did like a month of the digital subscription on the LA Times. Mm-hmm. Then I would see, because I follow them on Twitter, they would post an article on their Twitter. So I'd click on the article, and it would take me to like the website, the LA Times website. And then whenever I tried to log in, it would say, you don't have a subscription. Mm-hmm. Well, I knew that I had a subscription because I signed up and I looked and I saw that I had all access digital subscription.
Right.
And it just like would not find me. I went on my laptop and I tried to log in the website and it would not find me. So I wrote to the customer service and I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but every time I try to log in, I get this, you need to pay page. And I have this, and I sent screen caps of everything like they requested. I sent screen caps of my paid subscription. It's going back and forth. Then they said, try it again, try this, try that, back and forth. Every time it's a different person. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Andrea. And then I'd be like, oh, thank you so much, Chris, for like it'd be like a different person. And then the last one I got was like, you have a digital subscription, so you can only access things through the app. And I said, I'm sorry, it's called an all access digital subscription.
Right.
Under what universe is the website not digital?
I did not see this coming.
And then
that's fucking ridiculous.
And then I got a little testy. I'm not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoever the final one was, can I
speak to your editor?
Dorothy or whoever the final person, because it was a different fucking person every time. And I was like, please refer to all of my previous attachments. I definitely and I was like losing my mind. And then when they said, no, you only can see it on the app. You can't click on something off of Twitter and read it. And I was like, I think that I should get a refund for the month I paid. I was like, this is ridiculous. And they cut me off. They stopped. It was like crickets. It's been like 2 weeks. They haven't.
They just hung up on you.
Well, is that what not responding to an email is? Like they just.
I didn't get the. Okay.
They were like, fuck you, lady.
Right.
Karen. This Karen is trying to actually access her paid subscription on the website instead of the app. Can you get a load of her? This Kathy or whatever. And I'm like, okay, so I canceled obviously, my subscription because I was like, you know, what the fuck, people? What's an if you're going to call it an all access digital subscription, then give me all access.
Here's to me, the bottom line is, if you have a subscription to the paper, you should be able to see that shit in any form. In any form.
Well,
except
the paper
except
version.
the actual, but they're not delivering that. So, you know, you can go out and buy one, I guess, if you want. But if you have a digital subscription, yes, absolutely. Of course, you should be able to see the article in a fucking tweet. That's ridiculous.
I was so mad. You don't even know how mad I was. I was like so mad.
Hey, I'm that mad now.
And you know what makes me mad too is I listen to
the sequel.
I listen to their podcasts and stuff, and I listen to Dirty John, and I told everyone, oh my God, you gotta listen to Dirty John. And not only do you have to listen to Dirty John, there was like a previous like serialized print story.
You were
about
part of the voluntary street team.
I was basically like, okay, before Dirty John, there was a serialized print story that the guy did about like this couple in Orange County, and like this fucking bitch like planted she got mad at the school or something, and so she planted like drugs on the teacher, like her and her lawyer, rich lawyer. It was like this whole thing. In fact, at the time when this thing came out, I called up Busy Phillips, and I was like, you need to you need to option this story because like you got to play this woman, you know, or whatever. And like, then she's like, I'm quitting acting, or I don't know what she was saying. But like, I was like, you got to option this. And then the second one came out and they did the companion podcast, the Dirty John. And then I was like telling everyone from the mountaintops, oh my God, you've got to listen to Dirty John. Like, it's so good. And then they made like the mini series, and Connie Britton, like, Busy missed out because she could have done the whole thing. Yeah.
This story is cuckoo.
But then they had another recent podcast, and I'm listening to it, and the freaking journalist guy, he's like telling me, and I went to the panel. I went to the Dirty John panel at the Ace Theater because Julie had the extra ticket, my neighbor Julie, and I like supported them so much. And then the last one I was listening to, the journalist guy was like, please, if you don't subscribe to the LA Times, please, like, we're doing this work. We're doing this journalism work. And I was like, you know what? He's right. He's totally right. Yeah. Like, I need to subscribe. Mm-hmm. And then they fucking shut me out of my digital, like, what the? Come on.
LA Times, if you're listening, make this right.
I don't know what to say. Like, I can't.
Can we talk about how the new season of the Dirty John adaptation.
The Betty Broderick.
It's Dirty John, Betty Broderick.
The Betty Broderick story.
And
the Betty Broderick story.
The Betty Broderick story. And Connie Britton, who was in the original Dirty John TV series, is still a producer on this.
Yes.
So I guess it's the same people producing this second season.
Which is like LA Times Studios or something. Because they own, own the rights.
But it has nothing to do with the Dirty John story.
No, nothing.
So what I was saying is I hope they do a third season that's about, like, I don't know,
another crazy
Ted Bundy or something. And so it's Dirty John, the Betty Broderick story, dash.
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
It has to be a California story, I think, because that's their whole thing.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, Dirty John was like San Diego, Betty Broderick, San Diego.
Are they both San Diego? What's going on in San Diego?
I don't know.
Crazy place. Comic-Con. Old Town.
La Jolla. I've only been there like twice. I've only been like twice.
It's beautiful.
No, I've been there 3 times.
I went to a wedding there. I got as drunk as I've ever been in my life.
I think you told me about that. Yes. I was kind of jealous. I wish I'd gone to that wedding.
I still feel that hangover.
Do you really? That's terrible.
All I remember is, not all I remember, all I care to share, is being on the dance floor holding a glass of whiskey. Mm-hmm. Whiskey on the rocks. I dropped it. It shatters all over the place.
Come on.
Somebody walked up and gave me another one.
Really?
Yeah. That's what that wedding was like.
Is the couple still married?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I would know who the couple was. Can I say?
Yeah, if you want to.
Was it Andy Kindler?
Yeah.
And Susan Malgin?
That's right.
Okay, yeah. I like them a lot.
Stop looking at God.
I don't like all that.
You're nosy.
I don't care.
So we have a timer.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Stop being nosy. We have a timer.
Why don't you hide your shit better?
I have nothing to hide.
Well, then what's the problem?
Because you're distracted.
So what? What do you want me to do?
We're recording a podcast.
Have you ever heard of multitasking? Women are good at it.
Yeah, not well. Have you ever seen anything come across my text bubbles where you were like, "This is bad news. I caught you."
It's a good thing I'm keeping an eye out because one of these days.
One of these days it's bound to happen.
Honestly, if you were having an affair, when you have a separate, I hope to God.
Of course I'd have a burner phone.
I'd hope to.
Of course.
God.
Of course it wouldn't be in the cloud. It would be a flip phone.
A flip phone? How
Yes.
you gonna text your cheap ass whore?
T9, baby. What cheap ass whore.
How are you going to text her on a goddamn flip phone? You know what? No.
Honey, when you and I first got together, we were on flip phones.
I know, but that was like
and
ancient.
we texted each other. Isn't that sweet?
I don't know what it was. It was something.
Should we not have recorded tonight?
I don't know.
This might be our first lost episode.
I don't care. So what? I'm a little testy. What is it going to hurt somebody's feelings?
Maybe it is hurting somebody's feelings right now.
Is it hurting your feelings?
I don't want. Let's not name names.
Oh, I can't be a fully realized human.
Oh, wow.
I got to be peppy. I got to be perky. I got to be perfect.
Jeannie, get in your bottle.
I got to keep the smile going. I got to cover up the tears with laughter. What? Well, I think of Lifetime movies coming to me right now. It's like a good Lifetime.
Right?
It's like a good Lifetime movie. Wait, so...
Please don't try to make us into a California story that will be the third Dirty John season.
Oh, my God.
Don't murder me.
Dirty John.
Please don't murder me.
The Betty Broderick story, Paul and Janie's podcast perils. I'll tell you this much: I'm not going to give my story to the LA Times unless they give me unless I get a free subscription.
Hold on to those rights.
And I want to be able to log in.
Take it to the Sacramento Bee.
I want to log in from a website. If I pay for digital, I'll access.
We can't go back to that. All
right. I'm just like, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it.
I know how it feels. Let's talk about our plans tonight.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Janie has never seen the movie Showgirls.
Which came up on so on last week's episode, it came up because we want to watch this new documentary called You Don't Know Me. But the problem is I've never seen what the documentary is about, which is Showgirls. And so everyone's like, oh, my God, you've never seen Showgirls? You've got to see Showgirls. You got to see Showgirls. And I'm like, okay, I'll freaking do it.
It's true. I saw this happen. So we had a socially distanced hang with our friends Mike and Cynthia, and Showgirls came up, and
they hadn't seen it
because I was saying to them, we couldn't find it anywhere. We couldn't find it streaming anywhere.
We looked on the streaming. And there was like Showgirls 2.
Showgirls 2, Pennies from Heaven.
And then
Penny.
I'm definitely not going to start with Showgirls.
You can't do that unless it's a prequel. But so they said. Somehow we got to talk about Netflix. We were surprised it wasn't on Netflix.
It's Cynthia.
And they revealed that they are still getting discs in the mail.
And then Cynthia was like, I got you guys. And we were like, what? And she pulled out her phone and she clicked and she's like, Showgirls is going to be at my house in like 3 days or something. And we were like, what?
She gave us a disc. We had the whole experience. She gave us the disc and the envelope. I hadn't done it in such a long time.
We
got to put it in the envelope. We drove to the drive-thru, post office, dropped it in. And then Mike dropped it off. We have it tonight.
Mike and Cynthia got Showgirls. They watched it last night.
Oh, now we got to get into this.
What, the Louis C.K. thing? Wait, is that not what you're going to get into?
No.
Oh.
Now I have to.
It's such a funny story. All right. Wait.
So,
what are you going to get into?
No, I'll do this first.
With the Christmas tree stand.
Yes. So Louis C.K., the defrocked comedian, he made this movie called I Love You, Daddy. And it was supposed to come out like right after the time that he got everything blew up for him. And I was like, I want to see that movie because I bet it's terrible. And Mike had possession of a screener of it.
Yeah.
And so
because what happened was it was supposed to come out right around like award season or something.
Yes. Yeah,
and screener, the first batch of the screeners went out to some union members.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And so, because we were like, well, we'll get a screener. I'm sure we'll get a screener.
Yeah.
And but then
they were mailed the day all that shit went down.
But then they like put a pin in. They like halted. They the distribution of the screeners,
yes,
and only like a handful of industry people had gotten their hands on a copy of I Love You, Daddy.
So Mike said, I have a copy. I said, great. We watched it with friends. It's a terrible movie. And then I thought this would be funny before giving it back to Mike.
Which I was the messenger, by the way. I picked it up and dropped it off. So you had left it out for me.
I took a Sharpie and I wrote on it, Mike, thank you for being a true friend through all of this. One of the only people who understood me and where I'm coming from. Love Louis C.K.
Love Louis, yeah.
So then Janie returned it to Mike. Then we find out it was not Mike's copy. Mike borrowed it from somebody else.
With somebody else's screener. But I love you, Daddy. So there's some high up executive producer at Conan who has a copy of I Love You, Daddy that looks as if it had been personally signed by Louis C.K.
I think I even looked up his signature.
No way.
His autograph.
Yeah. I was like so mad too because I saw it and I was like, Paul, what did you do? And he's like, I know, isn't that funny? And I was like, this doesn't belong to Mike. And then you were like, oh, that's even better. Give it to him anyway, or something like that. I can't remember.
So now the other thing is, last Christmas,
I gave you my heart.
That's right.
Then
the very next day,
next
you gave it away.
year.
The very next day. That's what's so fucked up about that song.
Well,
the day after Christmas.
That person was not worthy.
Not worthy. So we went Christmas tree shopping.
At Christmas. I just thought that was an important part of the story. You don't think it was?
When did you think people would?
Well, I just wanted people to know.
Right. Please don't assume that we bought a tree on St. Patrick's Day and then it was just a brown fire trap.
We went Christmas tree shopping
at Christmas time.
At Christmas.
I already said last Christmas. Do you remember you saying?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
We should not have recorded tonight.
I can't wait to have another drink.
Yeah. This is before you even had the drink. So we went to the same place that Mike and Cynthia went. We had researched all these places.
Yes.
We're like, let's go to this place. This is great.
Why did we like that place? There was like some good reviews or something.
Yes. It came very well recommended.
We had to go to
they had a good selection.
Valley and everything.
We had to go to the Valley.
Yeah.
So Mike and Cynthia, I think, had been there before us.
Yes. They had. They'd been there the day before. Because I was like,
was it the day before?
It was the day before.
Okay. So we were texting. We texted them a picture. We got our tree. And they said, oh, yeah, we were there yesterday. We forgot our tree stand. Then you and I had a discussion. Should we pick up their tree stand since we're still here?
Yeah.
We were so close to leaving.
Yes.
It's like, okay, yeah, let's get their tree stand.
Like, of course we had to get the
It
tree
was
stand.
a whole, I felt like Inspector Javert.
It was crazy.
I had
First of all, this place
people were passing me off to person after person. I think it was hilarious.
And also this place was packed, by the way.
It was packed.
I mean, it was crawling with Christmas
Crawling with Christmas.
And it was like, we need to get this tree stand. And we're like, well, how's your tree? First of all, I was like, how's your tree up? And I guess what happened was when they delivered their tree that came with like a stand.
Yes.
Or, you know.
And they also got some weird variant of tree that needed its own special stand or something like that.
I don't know. They have like a really tall room.
Anyway. So we finally get a hold of their Christmas tree stand.
Which they didn't need at that moment.
Yes. So we have it.
So we stuck it in the garage.
Stuck in the garage. It's been there ever since. Today, Mike texts, I'm going to come by with Showgirls. I was like, oh, I know what to do. Got that Christmas tree stand out of the garage. Put it on the front porch.
Yeah.
Went back out later. Still there. But he did drop off Showgirls.
He was too fast for you.
He was too fast for me. I feel like he must have been outside when he said, I'm going to come over and do this.
Do you have an erasable marker? Because I think it'd be funny if you signed the Netflix DVD, Dear Mike, love Elizabeth Berkley. But then we wipe it off and then put it in the mail.
What if I write an indelible marker on their Christmas tree stand, fuck you, and then drop it off at their house?
We were at their house the other day. We should have taken the Christmas tree stand.
They were at our house last year at Christmas time. Remember? And they didn't take it.
I don't remember.
We forgot to give it to them.
I don't remember anything before coronavirus.
There was nothing.
Honestly, like it's like coronavirus, and then that's it. Like
BCE, before Corona era.
I mean, how's this going to play out?
Well, that's a question for another time. I think we ought to wrap it up. We got to get this.
You're not fun.
I'm a lot of fun.
You're not fun.
I'm a lot of fun.
But
Wait till you hear my quips during Showgirls.
I just want to. Oh my God, y'all! I will say this. Y'all watching Showgirls with Paul is really the only way I can watch Showgirls, because if I had to watch it with anyone else that's not as funny, then I don't know.
Agreed.
Also, what if I like Showgirl? Does anyone like it? Isn't there sort of like does anyone like it? I know it's like a cult.
Boy, that's a deep question. And I think there must be some people who like it on the terms that it wants to be liked.
Which is what?
I think here's my take on Showgirls.
Okay.
A lot of people consider it a bad movie, so bad it's good, whatever. I think that it's a self-aware movie, like it knows what it's doing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. There was Riff Tracks.
Yeah.
They got into it with fans because they did Starship Troopers by the same director.
What Riff Tracks is, in case somebody doesn't.
Riff Tracks is Mystery Science Theater. These people make fun of movies. They talk over them, and do funny quips like we all do since time immemorial. And so they did one of the ones they did. Well, with Riff Tracks, you just download. If you rent the movie or have the movie or it's on TV, you can download the commentary and sync it up with the movie, and it's really fun.
Which we've done a couple times.
Yes,
for
and greatly enjoyed.
Other movies.
And so they did Starship Troopers, which is by the same director, Paul Verhoeven.
Okay.
And Starship Troopers is a satire, and a lot of people were hammering at them saying you can't do it because it knows what it is. It's a satire. It's intentionally that way.
I see.
And while that is true, that still doesn't mean that any movie that's a satire can't be bad.
Right.
Like you could whether it knows what it's doing or not, it still could fail.
Sure.
And you could still make fun of it all you want because it's a free country. So my take on
they hate the First Amendment.
They hate it. I'm taking this mask off. My take on Showgirls is this is based on having seen it a million years ago
In the theater?
No, I think I saw it on video.
Okay.
Like the world. Is that I don't think it's like it's an unaware bad movie. I think it's an intentionally campy, like absurd movie.
Okay.
But I don't think it's good.
But an intentionally campy, like what's an intentionally campy, absurd movie that is good? Do you know what I mean?
Something like, although I don't know how intentional it is, but something like Mommy Dearest, which is a really look. You can say this about
good.
Showgirls is
a good movie.
Showgirls will be entertaining. It's off the charts bananas, right? Mommy Dearest is like, it's ridiculous, but it's kind of a well-made movie, you know. And there's genuinely funny stuff in it.
Call that a campy movie, to be honest.
Honey,
Mommy Dearest?
Honey.
Mommy Dearest is just the real story of Joan Crawford and Christine.
Honey. When's the last time you saw Mommy Dearest?
Probably
before you knew what the word camp was?
No. Probably not that long ago.
I am here to
Also, I watched Feud twice in case anybody wants to know. Well,
I'm here to tell you and guarantee you that Mommy Dearest is a campy movie.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do a double feature tonight.
I don't, that would require me staying awake past 10:30.
You're not going to make it through Showgirls.
Yes,
All
I
right.
am. I'm going to wait.
We'll see.
I'm excited to watch it.
We'll see.
I'm actually really excited about our Friday night.
It's going to be fun.
I know I started off grumpy. I apologize to our listeners.
And?
You.
Wait,
you said, but our listeners did not say for better and for worse. You did.
I thought it was for better or worse.
Wait.
And I got to choose.
Really? I don't remember any of it. What did we say that day?
We didn't say any of those traditional ones. We said some version of that. Who gives a fuck?
All I know is I go by actress, and I'm sorry to the world. And if you want to make a one-word description, then everybody should be called actress. The guys too.
Why?
The guys get it too.
But why?
Why does that make any less sense than me being an actor?
Because I think that actor is the default, and
why should that one be the default?
I think that it just I think that it just always was.
Man.
Well, because there didn't used to be actresses. I think they were
right because it's a man.
No. There's a tiny distinction. But I'm not saying it. Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying they were called actors probably because, the language back then would have been genderized, male and female as well. I don't know. I'm not an authority, but I would say that probably the word actress came about when women started acting. And in the way they do that they used to do that with every occupation.
Well, I have some news from
aviatrix,
Women were acting before there were
That's right.
actresses.
Faking orgasms. Am I right, girlfriend?
Exactly.
All right. Let's wrap this up. I feel like we've sounded the dumbest on this episode of any that we've done so far.
You know what? I don't want to be smart. I don't want to be smart. If you listen to me because you think I'm smart, then I got news for you.
Should we cut out the last 15 minutes or the last 20? All right.
Listen,
stay. Hold on a sec. Let's ease down to it a little bit less abruptly. Thank you for listening.
God damn. Thank you.
Maybe we should have recorded tomorrow. I don't know.
Well, you know what? You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. All right. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week.
Yes. Take care of yourselves.
Until then, stay safe, stay sane, and stay home.